Welcome to Park Update, the weekly show that gives you the latest St. Louis Park news. I'm Scott Smith. St. Louis Park has a new community poet. The St. Louis Park Friends of the Arts last week named Diana Pecoraro its first community poet. The poet will represent Friends of the Arts at several citywide events and participate in projects that are part of a year-long focus on poetry called Our Town Verses and Voices. For more information on Our Town Verses and Voices, visit slpfriendsofthearts.org. A January thaw is leading to much-needed relief from icy road conditions throughout the park. The frigid temperatures of the last couple of weeks have rendered traditional salt and melting chemicals ineffective against the icy conditions. The warmer temps mean city crews expect to soon have an upper hand on the roadways. A reminder that you can get real-time information about parking bans during snow events by following the city on Twitter, checking our fan page on Facebook, or visiting the city's website. Turning now to a type of ice we like around here, the St. Louis Park Hockey Association is celebrating its 40th anniversary, January 15th through the 17th, with a weekend of events at the Rec Center. Games, visits by Minnesota Wild mascot Nordy and U of M mascot Goldie, NHL alumni autographs, and a Mite Jamboree are all planned. Check slphockey.org for details. Aurora, Oregon, the new interactive light sculpture at the Shops at West End is officially dedicated. San Francisco artist Camille Utterback stopped by this week for a ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially open the artwork to the public. Aurora, Oregon features 6 columns of light hanging at various elevations above the grand stairway entrance to the theater. On the second-floor landing, 6 illuminated glass sensors are inset in the wooden hand railing and cycle through a palette of colors. Each time a person taps or touches a railing sensor, a band of its current color is added to the corresponding column. It's pretty cool. I just saw it the other day. The City Council is asking local legislators for some help at the county, metro, and state levels in 2010. Jamie Zwilling has more in our council update.
Transportation funding will be a top priority for the City Council during 2010. The council met with Hennepin County Commissioner Gail Dorfman, Representatives Steve Simon and Ryan Winkler, and Senator Ron Latz to share their legislative priorities at this week's council session. Keeping the Highway 100 full build project fully funded and on track, and securing more than $20 million in funding for the Highway 7 and Louisiana Avenue project are among the highest priorities for the council. Funding improvements to Interstate 394 and Highway 100 collector and distributor roads are also high priorities. Other legislation of interest for the council in 2010 includes sales tax exemptions for the building of fire stations and a bill allowing cities to adopt more restrictive property maintenance program codes. The 2010 legislative session begins February 4th. I'm Jamie Zwilling, and that's your council update.
That is the latest news in the park. Still to come, school news. Leslie Farrell has the sports update, and we've got a new history minute. Now here's a look at events happening in your neighborhood. If you are a new resident of St. Louis Park, or you just want to know, where do I vote? Who are my elected officials? What neighborhood am I in? What are the closest parks to my home? My Neighborhood on the city website has the answers. Simply go to stlouispark.org and click on My Neighborhood, type in your street address, then click Find Info. My Neighborhood does the rest. Do you enjoy puttering, like to fix things, plant trees? Why not consider volunteering at the beautiful Westwood Hills Nature Center? Volunteers are always needed for help with fix-it projects, preparing for seasonal programs, planting and watering trees, and the list goes on and on. If you're interested, please call 952-924-2544. As I mentioned earlier, the St. Louis Park Hockey Association is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. But hockey first came to St. Louis Park about 65 years ago, just after the end of World War II. Let's go back to 1945 at an outdoor rink in the park on the History Minute.
In 1945, a group of high school sophomores got the city of St. Louis Park to divide a big skating rink on Dakota Avenue so they could play shinny. Well, that's hockey without many rules. These boys thought they were good enough to try to get the high school to sponsor them as a team. They approached Principal Milton Kuhlman, who was also the athletic director. They were told that this would require academic eligibility, good school behavior, and a coach that was on the faculty. In addition, they needed a rink, for which the school did not have any money. To the group, it was a challenge. They also knew that they had to prove they could play. They entered the St. Louis Park Rangers in the Minneapolis Park Board League for 15 and 16-year-olds. Now they had two new problems. The first was protection. They solved this by improvising and using magazines and rubber bands for shin guards. Another problem was to find a player with access to a car so they could get to the games. They had never before played with nets, boards, body checks, and referees. In the 1945-46 school year, they went on to a season record of 10 wins and 2 losses. With this record, the village council provided a rink with boards and nets. For a faculty coach, they recruited the boys' gym teacher. Now they had another problem because Mr. Peter Zena did not know how to skate. From those humble beginnings, interest grew and grew. Other Lake Conference schools took up hockey as well. Good coaching developed and arenas were built. The St. Louis Park Orioles boys and girls teams, as well as BSM hockey teams, currently play at the St. Louis Park Rec Center. It is interesting to note the resurgence of pond hockey is becoming increasingly popular throughout the country, and especially here in the Twin Cities.
In school news, St. Louis Park's High School Theater will be performing the comedic play The Marriage of Betty and Boo this weekend. The play opens with shows on January 15th and 16th at 7:30 p.m. and closes Sunday, January 17th with a matinee at 2:30 p.m. All performances will be held in the high school auditorium and tickets will be sold at the door. And that is your latest school news for St. Louis Park. Leslie Farrell is up next with this week's Sports Update.
This week's Athlete of the Week is senior St. Louis Park hockey forward Alex Smith. Smith was key in the Orioles' 4-2 victory over Irondale this past Saturday. Smith scored 1 goal and added an assist. Congratulations. Our game of the week is a battle for position in the North Suburban Conference. Benilde St. Margaret's girls basketball will be taking on Chisago Lakes High School on Tuesday, January 19th at 7:15 p.m. at home. BSM is currently 3-1 in the conference and 9-1 overall and ranked number 2 in Class 3A. Chisago Lakes is 3-0 on the year and 7-3 overall. The winner of this game will move up in the conference standings. I'm Leslie Farrell, and that's your sports update.
Thank you, Leslie. A quick note before we go. City offices will be closed on Monday, January 18th in observance of Martin Luther King Day. For Leslie Farrell and Jamie Zwilling, I'm Scott Smith. We'll be back with another edition of Park Update next week.